Hello, lovies. It is your
Hi.
friend, Abby, Road Rage, and my dearest of dears, and also your friend, the lovely Claire Bacon, aka Slutty the Clown, for those of you in the know, which
Hey.
might be some of you. So, on today's episode, we are covering, we're in season two. We're doing episode 15 and 16. We're going to start with episode 15, which is honestly one of my favorite episodes of I really just adore it.
Absolutely.
Sorry if I'm fidgety, I'm having a weird hair day. I also wore my no spoilers, but I wore my Werewolf USA garb.
It's
The friend of
amazing.
mine that makes
I'm
these
also having a fiddly hair day too.
yeah, it's just the thing. I mean, like my
And
face
I
is
have
weird.
my skeleton hoodie on today.
Nice. I was actually going to wear my shirt that had the little skeleton hands on the boobas, but
Oh, nice.
I changed last moment.
On the boobas.
On the boobies. So, we start off this episode just adorable. Anytime that Oz is in an episode, it's
Oh,
adorable. And it opens with him staring into the trophy case at Sunnydale High School. And
yeah.
Willow comes up and he says, the eyes follow you everywhere. He's looking at the cheerleading statue, which we know from a prior episode of season one is actually
Yeah.
Amy's mother, who's been transformed into the statue. So I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah, it
Um,
was great.
every part with Willow and Oz is just stinking adorable, and we know now, or at least we realize from their adorably awkward conversation, that they've been out on at least one date.
At
Awkward
least.
cuteness all around. And you could tell like the excitement Willow has is just like bouncing out of her. So we go
Yeah.
on to a normal day of class, and Oz has a really adolescent encounter with Larry the homophobe, which we know from past episodes where he and Xander had it out. And Larry's like, "Oh, how far did you get?" It was like the episode in Greece, where they're all like, "Tell me what you
Yeah.
got," and it was a little awkward and weird, but it kind of cuts to when he's like avoiding them, that Willow is telling Buffy like nothing's happened. I want something to
Yeah.
happen, like,
But
and she's
nothing.
like, Oz, he wants to wait till I'm ready, but I'm so ready.
Yeah.
So, um, it was adorable. I think it was Buffy says, or oh no, it was Willow was bitching about Xander and Cordelia dating, like
Yeah.
1-800 I'm dating a skanky hoe, and
Yeah, it's so
Buffy's
great.
like meow, and Melissa's like I never got a meow before, like
Yeah.
it was so cute. And
Perfect.
then we cut to Xander and Cordelia in another awkward. I mean, the relationships at this point are so weird because Xander is completely and utterly jealous over Willow's relationship with
Oh,
Oz.
absolutely.
He's
Yeah.
obsessed, and Cordelia can't quite figure out, like, all you want to do is either talk about Willow or talk about Buffy. You want to talk about every other woman except for the fact that, like, I'm the one alone in the car with you right now, in my daddy's car, like full moon, all alone. Shouldn't you be taking advantage of this? And that word full moon comes up, and then they pan over and you see a werewolf watching them from the woods, which is always not at all creepy. Um, so yeah, they start making out, and then the werewolf jumps on the top of the car, and they get away, and they take it to Giles, who's like uber excited about the fact that there might be a werewolf, like a legit werewolf for him to
Yeah,
study.
it's actually
It's
so
very
sweet.
exciting for him. He's so excited to research that. Now, however, the school, I guess because there have been some attacks, the school has started a self-defense course in gym class, which I wish we had back in the day. I'm actually talking about that with some of my girlfriends. I want
Yeah,
to take
same.
a
Same. I
self-defense.
actually agree completely. I wish we had as well.
Yeah, it's something that's just so every day, and it should be offered. I mean, I
Yeah.
know there are courses there are places you can go, but that's besides the point. So Larry comes up to the boys. Now he's got his arm bandaged, and he mentions to Xander and Oz that he was bitten by a giant dog. So we're thinking, ooh. And then Oz is like, yeah, I was bitten too by my little cousin Jordy, and blah blah blah. And Jordy just got his grown-up teeth in, and he really doesn't like to be tickled, which I think is just freaking
Such a
adorable.
great line.
It's so
such
good.
a great line.
We'll
It
come
sets
back
it up
to that
so
later
well.
because I'm curious. The name Jordy, you know, it's a throw out their name, but Jordy is the character played by Stephen King in Creepshow.
Yeah.
Seth Green, as we know, played young Richie Tozier in It.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's all
know if
linked.
that's an intentional throw to.
I think it might be. There
I
seems to
have
be a
to
lot of
assume to
links.
pick a name like Jordy, you would have to assume there's not
Yeah.
that many Jordys in the, you know, except for
I
the.
feel we're kind of in the territory at the minute where there's a lot of homage and kind of Easter eggy episodes at the moment where
Yes.
there's lots of different things that are coming in, you know, at different
I
times.
love that, and I can't wait to explore them all with you.
Clint
So,
says, I get excited about werewolves too.
Yes, I mean, I know Clint does. I've seen it in action. It's weird. Not weird. It's awesome. It's not as big as Bigfoot, but you know, werewolves are close.
Well, the Bigfoot's quite scary, but also the Cryptfoot is incredibly scary.
Cannot wait. Cannot wait. So anyway, they're at self-defense class, and Willow has to kind of remind Buffy that you're a normal teenage girl and you must fight like a normal teenage girl. So like maybe don't.
The look of disappointment on her face.
I know. And, you know, Larry comes up to some girl that's bending over and talks about how he's there to, you know, wrestle with her. And it's so inappropriate. And so Buffy gets paired up with him, and it's so cute because she's like, and Larry goes and grabs her ass, which is a big mistake because she then flips his ass over. And
it is a great moment. It's definitely one of the good moments. And again, the stunt woman who played her for years, as we mentioned most weeks, she's actually undisputed amazing in it.
I'd love to interview her one day just for funsies.
Yeah, me too. I should do some research and see what I can dig up.
Because I got to meet Zoe Bell once, and she did Xena's stunts, and I am a huge fan of hers. And I was like stupid and starstruck and giddy, and it was adorable. But
I think I'd probably be the same.
It was cute. So Giles does, while they're all talking and researching all these things about werewolves, he does remind them that this man or woman, this were person as it was, may not even know that they're a werewolf, that this could be something that they just have absolutely no idea about. So Buffy and Giles are patrolling at Lookout Point, which is so awkward because you know what happens at Lookout Point. Everybody's making out. She goes off on her own and gets caught up in one of those nets that you always see in movies that I wonder if they really work that cool because, you know, that's exciting. They even had them in, I think, Pitch Perfect, one of the movies. They get caught up in the net. But anyway.
Yes, I do remember
and then there's some dude pointing a gun at Buffy, and she's like, Giles. So we find out this is Kane. Kane is typical douchebag.
He's such a douche, isn't he? He is just like, no, we don't like him.
You know, you could say he's a hunter, but he fully admits he's a poacher. He's just doing it to sell for money. And, you know, werewolves are big bucks. People love that pelt. And it doesn't seem to matter to him that, you know, 28 days of the month, this is a human being. Because that's why, as he says, he only hunts them on the full moon. So, we have another interesting scene that comes up where Angel is walks up and scares this girl basically, and he's like, oh, I know you're a classmate of Buffy's, aren't you? I think her name is Teresa, but I have it written down somewhere. I'm sure I'll come to it. And you know, so now she's comfortable. Oh, you know Buffy, so he's gonna, don't worry, I'll take care of you. And they go to the Bronze where everyone,
it's actually great for his character development, you know.
So good.
Just once we've had the big turn, as we have,
and he turns on that charm. He puts people at ease. He knows what to say.
So great. And a lot of people say a lot about, you know, the early days with Angel and stuff, but at the end of the day, you could always tell when he was Angelus or Angel.
Oh yeah, you didn't have.
He played it so well.
Playing, you know,
so sinister, absolutely perfect.
Yeah, total dick, which we know.
Yeah.
I think it's very funny that the scene opens up with Cordelia just bitching about Xander and how like she feels invisible and blah blah blah. But the person that she's bitching to is Willow, who's just like, yeah, I don't know anything about that. That's so unusual, you know? And and as they're bitching about guys suck, rah, you know, it's like all of a sudden this werewolf jumps down and lands on the table in front of them. At that moment, because obviously they realize the werewolf's going to go where there are people and where there are hormones. And since he's not at Lookout Point, the Bronze is the next best because there are just so many places in Sunnydale. So Buffy runs into the Bronze. It's been vacated at this point, all the screaming people running out, and the werewolf attacks. The fight ensues as it always does. She tries to catch him with a chain, you know, like she's like, but he gets away. And Kane belittles her for being a woman and screwing it up and unable to do the job, yada, yada, yada. The werewolf comes across this woman laying in the parking lot. Excuse me. An angel has just drained her. And it's this great moment where they're both just growling at each other. This like dark, and Angel's here and the werewolf's there. They're just looking and growling, and the angel just backs off into the shadows, walks away.
Excuse me.
So the news is obviously blaming her death on the recent animal attacks. And then we cut to morning and we see Oz waking up alone in the woods, like,
With strategically placed trees and
yes, because everybody's nudie. He's all naked in the woods, but you know, looking confused. And I love his response because he's so Oz, he's so chill. It's just
like, okay.
We then see Oz call his Aunt Maureen and ask, you know, hey, is Jordy a werewolf? And he's like,
again, you know, such a great scene.
Development happened, and I just think, you know, and then he's like, oh, well, send my love to Uncle Ken. So I'm curious whether Maureen and Ken are also names that somehow equate to Stephen King, but I will I'll check that out.
I do have a couple of little facts later.
Yeah, because I love that Seth Green, you know, again, played Richie Tozier in It, and Richie Tozier's childhood fear was werewolves, was actually the teenage werewolf, which I think is hysterical. So basically, Xander confronts Larry in the locker room because he thinks he's the werewolf. I mean, he is just this, and he's got the bite and it all adds up. And like, he's trying to get him to admit it. And Larry finally admits that he's gay. Yeah. And he never would have been able to come out if it wasn't for the fact that Xander was gay too. Yeah. So now Xander's backpedaling and
so funny. Xander's just
Larry just says, you know, this is like a giant weight lifted off me. Like I know I've been a douchebag, but I've been hiding all these feelings. And thank you so much for being that safe person for me to come out to. And just it's funny because Xander's a little bit homophobic, and I think it's hysterical.
He is a little.
At some point, Buffy does realize that, I guess it was at her funeral, that she was not killed by a werewolf because it was open casket and her body's not torn to shreds.
And we've got little vampire teeth marks.
Little vampire teeth marks. And then Teresa sits up and obviously they fight. And she says, you know, basically regards from Angel. He sends his love. And as Buffy is clearly taken aback by this, Xander does stake her from behind with the thing that holds the podium up, which is cool.
Like a stand for the thing.
Yes, and it's, you know, Xander doesn't usually get to save the day as often, so that was kind of cool.
Not very often.
We see Kane is making his silver bullets because obviously he is planning on, it didn't happen last night, he's planning on killing this werewolf tonight.
Yeah.
Because it is the last night. They realize there are 3 nights, and it really does fall that 3 night of the full moon.
Yeah.
And so nobody's safe. We see Oz in his living room with like mail order chains that he's trying to figure out how to put together. It's
like
adorable.
Heavy duty steel ones as well. You know, we're not talking cheap.
We're not talking dainty little. We're talking giant. Like, but you see the box,
shackled,
the shipping box that he got this on the internet, which I think is adorable.
Yeah, which is adorable.
And then Willow shows up at the door, and God love her. She finally has taken this moment to like,
sweet
this is unfair. You've been blowing me off. I keep asking you out again. You're just like, I'm busy, and I got nothing. And she's like, and she won't leave. And he, she's mad. He tells her it's not a good time for him. She does not give up. And I am proud of her for that, because Willow tends to, old Willow would tend to shy away and be like, nope, I was told no. And but she's standing her ground. She's fighting for her man, and she loves him. And then she looks around his house. She's like, what are you doing just here by yourself with your chains? And and then he realizes, he starts to change, and Willow screams. She runs out the door. He chases after her. Somehow she manages to climb a fence and get over it. Before he gets there, and she hits him with a garbage can. She is a spry little girl or something. Miles is hunting the werewolf with a tranquilizer gun, but Kane is also in pursuit with his silver bullet gun. So it's down to who's going to get there first. Willow gets knocked down. The werewolf looks at her like he's about to strike, and then runs the other way. So part of us has to wonder whether he recognized her, whether he just heard something that called him away at that moment. Buffy's with Giles. They're looking for the werewolf. She busts in the library and says, the werewolf is Oz. And he's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I'm sure. But it's just, so they go out after him, and Kane is about to shoot the werewolf, and Buffy knocks the gun out of his hands, and you know how pissed he is getting there is a scuffle, and Willow manages to grab the trank gun and shoot the werewolf, and it's so sweet because she's like, I shot Oz, but it was a trank gun, and it's a sweet moment. Again, Kane is with the whole, you've got nobody, no superhero, you're nothing but a woman, and Buffy takes his gun and just bends it in a U, which I love, and she's like,
it's great.
We got this, thanks. Don't let the door hit you in the ass, or maybe do let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, I think she tells him. Buffy's talking with Xander. Larry comes up to him to thank him again for everything he did, and he stumbles over because it's so funny. He just blows it off like, and Xander starts again about not liking Willow with Oz, and Buffy says to him, it's not up to you. You had your choice. You made your choice. She really needs to be, she deserves to be happy. She loves you more than anybody. Oz does tell Willow in a beautiful way that if she does want to break up with him, obviously he would understand.
Again, sweet moment.
So cute. The two of them honestly can give you cavities how cute they are. Yeah, she tells him, I'm not that much of a joy to be around 3 days of the month anyway.
True story.
I love it. And she walks away, and she comes back and she kisses him, which is adorable, and then walks away all Willow-like. And he goes, a werewolf in love. And you realize that he loves her as much as she loves him, which is wonderful. And that ends this episode.
Such a great episode.
Honestly, it's one of my favorites of the Monsters of the Week, even
I'll
though
be honest, this episode is one of the ones, and the next one that we go on to, have two of my favorite episodes.
They're just a fun.
And I've watched them that many, to the point where I didn't write that many notes this week, because I've seen them that many times. They're a good repeat watch. If you're not going through the entire series, and you kind of just want an episode to watch that you love.
Can we put 1-800 I'm dating a skanky hoe on the site, so that if anyone wants to call it and see what happens?
We'll have to check it's not connected to anything first.
That's a good point.
Let's just not, it can't be pay-per-view,
Was there excuse me.
There's a few things this week we've got. We'll go quickly with the music first. The band that was playing in the Bronze was Lotion, and they were playing Blind for Now. Lotion.
And what was it? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Blind for Now was the track they were playing. Also, further on, as we go to the next one, I'll mention it now in case I forget to go back to it. There's several posters for the band Lotion in the next episode.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
So they followed it up. I think they did that with a few things here and there, and it happens more as we go on. There's also a lot of posters in both of these 2 episodes for Dingo Ate My Baby.
I love them.
Obviously. The Maureen and Ken thing, and the different things we said where it seems like we've got these Stephen King little kind of references. The reason is, I feel, because, again, it was directed by Bruce Seth Green.
It was. Okay,
we always say sense. Some of the best episodes we've watched on a rewatch, realising, were directed by him, I'm finding. And it was written by Joss. Now, Joss wrote it because he was trying to convince Seth Green to become a regular character. And he wrote it with him in mind to entice him. And that says to me, from what I'm reading here, with the quotes and everything, he wanted to appeal to him. So he put the quotes in, and they put the names in. And they literally did it so that he would read it and go, yeah, I want to be a main character. And he did. The first time he read this episode, he said, yeah, definitely, I'll become a mainstream character. So, and that's brilliant.
It's so great because, again, we said Oz is the most chill. You know, he's a musician that's not after chasing women. Great. He likes brains over, you know, hoariness, and he's a werewolf. And the only response is, I wonder if my cousin Jordy is a werewolf since I was, you know, it's so, I love how lackadaisical he is about everything. He just, you know, la la la.
And it also is a tribute to the Howling as well.
I love the Howling.
With the kind of FX style of the werewolf.
I was curious who did the werewolf work in this.
There is no name for who did the work. In what I'm reading, I didn't Google it. I'll be honest. I'm sure you could find it if you looked, but it doesn't say. It just said that literally they basically, as a conglomerate, wanted to make it like the Howling.
Because it has a very Rick Baker design to it. You know, we were talking about the TV show, not the Howling, TV show Werewolf that Adam Backus and I need to finish up, which is from the late 80s, early 90s, I think, where a guy turns. It's basically the Incredible Hulk, only with a werewolf. It's legit the same story. I mean, granted, it only lasted 1 season, but the werewolves themselves, the design is fantastic. You know, same thing with this one. The design's fantastic. It obviously doesn't have the movement in the mouth.
No.
Because you're not spending, you know, you're not using CGI, you're not spending a fortune. No. But the werewolf design in this is some of the best.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with you there. And as we find with this, when they do bring the CGI in later on,
it does not make it better. But I feel that
there is some CGI. Really bad. We'll get to those, but we both know certain episodes that it's like, God, you should have just kept it practical because you literally...
Practical effects are my jam, you know, that I'd rather see the zipper in a bad costume than see bad CGI.
Feel the same.
Now, CGI can be used to enhance a scene.
It can be used very well. I think the problem was they didn't have the capabilities and they tried to run before they could walk.
They're using new technology. It's like, go back and watch, you know, some of the older movies that you thought were so amazing, but...
Yeah. So that's what I have this week anyway. My thoughts especially are, I love Oz and Willow episodes, or Oz in general, anytime he's on screen and the whole thing. So yeah, that's about all I had. I just thoroughly enjoyed them this week.
It's great. I mean, we have a lot with the next episode also, because again, I'm glad that Oz this is like my favorite time of the series. At the beginning of these relationships are so fun. I mean, they will break your heart later, but spoilers. But let's jump in then to episode 16, which is called Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered. And we've got Buffy and Xander having a conversation, I guess, during patrol, talking in the graveyard about relationships as one does. He does tell Buffy that Xander got her, you know, he got her Valentine's Day gift and shows her. And then a vampire does come out. There is a fight. He is staked. And she does say something like, slaying's a bit more perilous than dating, unless you're dating Cordelia, which, you know, is.
Yeah.
So again, Cordelia is a very complicated character, which we've discussed before, because you want to hate everything about her. You open the show hating her from episode 1, and little by little, and this is the brilliance of it, they start to make her more likable.
Little by little.
And I think, and I know I'm jumping the gun because it's not till the end of this episode, but I think by the end of this episode, you actually start to like her. But she walks up to Hermione and her crew, and they are treating her like trash because she's dating Xander.
So mean girls again.
So mean girls. And again, you don't want to feel sorry for Cordelia because this is her jam. It's what she does all the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, still, they're horrible, terrible people. And in class, Amy does bring up the Valentine's Day dance at the Bronze, and Willow is super excited to say, my boyfriend's in the band, because she's like, Buffy's like, say it, like, just get it over with. The teacher tells them all, you got to hand in your homework. If you don't hand in your homework, it's like a straight fail. Like, this is the most important thing of your grade. So Xander's behind Amy and watches her bewitch the teacher into thinking she's taken her paper with just a little. And as we remember,
Cordelia had a great character.
Agreed.
Hated in Buffy, loved on Angel. Totally agree with Clint on that.
She grew completely. So much.
She's a completely different character when she goes to Angel. It's completely different.
Yeah, once I guess she lost all her parents' money and had to go on her own and everything else, she definitely grew up a lot. So Xander sees Amy do this, and if we remember correctly, Amy's mother was the witch in one of the first episodes of season 1.
God damn love Amy. Amy is one of my favorite characters in the entire thing.
She's so good. So we do see that she also has a little dabbling that obviously it runs in the family when she bewitches the teacher. Giles and Buffy are there. Jenny walks up. There's still tension with Giles and Jenny. Everybody's
it's
really
awkward.
pissed.
It's very strange.
You can tell that Giles still likes Jenny, but Buffy is the most important thing to him. And until she's comfortable, there's not going to be anything. So there it is, Valentine's night. Xander goes to the Bronze, gives Cordelia the beautiful necklace that he got for her, and she loves it and promptly breaks up with him.
Yeah.
And it's heart-wrenching because, he says to her, out of all the days, like, you know what, the best day not to break up with somebody is Valentine's Day. Like, are you kidding me? And the next day at school, everybody's pointing and laughing at him. Yeah. I mean, it's atrocious. High school's terrible.
It's horrible, isn't it?
They're just, Hermione's being her usual bitchy self. Xander confronts Amy and tells her that, look, I know you're a witch, and I don't want to use the term blackmail. And she's like, I'm not blackmailing. And he's like, no, I'm blackmailing you. Like, I need you to do something for me, or I'm going to let them all know that that you've done this, and we'll talk to the teacher about your missing homework and yada, yada, yada. Buffy knows that Giles is hiding something about the information he has on Angel. And she confronts him about it. She's like, I am the Slayer. I get that. Like, if this were any other monster, you would keep me informed. But because it's my ex-honey, like, now all of a sudden we're going to go, oh, no, we don't want to tell her that. Xander and Amy do the spell, and it majorly backfires. Basically, everybody other than Cordelia is instantly in love with Xander, which is he's going out there starting to get right. He's getting real weird. He runs home and he slams his door, and Willow is in his bed. And she basically, it's not the first time I've been in your bed. And he's like, yeah, this is way too. Yeah. And she throws herself at him, and he rejects her and runs away like, a real man. Cordelia's crew is now all pissed at her, and she's like, what are you mad at me for now? I broke up with him. And she's like, you broke Xander's heart, and you're horrible and
terrible.
Blah, blah, blah. And it was all right. So then, everyone on the planet, the guys are he's walking through, and the guys are kind of some of them are giving him dirty looks. Some of them seem enamored with Xander himself. He runs into the library.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
he tells Giles, and Giles is pissed. And he tells him, you know, like Jenny comes in and she starts, like, as she's talking to Xander, she's
Jenny's
getting
so great.
touchy. You realize that she's completely distracted by him and can't keep her hands off of him. He tells him, you stay in this library, you don't go anywhere. He pulls Jenny out with him. And Xander does a total Xander thing. He like pushes a file cabinet up against the door, but they're fucking swinging doors. So next thing you know, Buffy opens the door, walks straight through. Looking very sexy, wearing nothing but a trench coat, a short trench coat, I might add.
Very short trench coat.
Xander turns her down and basically says how, you know, this is all he's ever wanted. His whole life was her, but he can't, like, not like this. And
not like this.
She becomes enraged and she's about to attack him, but then Amy comes in and the two of them get all, and, you know, Amy's all Hecate, and they fight. Buffy punches Amy out and, you know, says, he's mine. And then Amy gets up and casts a spell on Buffy and turns Buffy into a rat, which I think is hysterical.
Oh, and that dumb rat spell.
The dumb rat spell. Things are getting very ugly. The crowd, the squad attacks Cordelia. They've got her on the ground.
It's a mob.
Busts in, you know, does that whole heroic, picks her off the ground and carries her out and runs with her.
Yeah, it's very, very heroic.
It's before this happens though, Xander and Oz, I guess they're fighting. Xander's had gotten knocked out. No, Xander's down. I don't know. Next thing you know, Oz just fucking clocks Xander right in the face.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know why I did this, but Willow's been up all night crying and it's your fault and I just need to punch you in the face. And it was like so cute. So he didn't know what was up. He just knew that he needed to punch him.
Yeah.
Oz follows Rat Buffy into the basement. You know, he's just following little Rat Buffy, trying to get her. She encounters a big black cat. And you think, oh no. And then all of a sudden Buffy, the cat runs the other way because, you know, Slayer rat. But
Slayer rat, yeah.
Cordelia and Xander run into Buffy's house where they encounter Joyce. And Joyce sends him upstairs to go get something for Xander. And then all of a sudden starts hitting on him. And Cordelia comes down and sees Joyce trying to make her way with Xander. And she's like, get your mom mitts off my boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whatever, and throws her out of her own house. And Joyce like busts the window, like, let Joycey in. It's so creepy. You know, people do that.
Yeah, it is very, very creepy.
They run up to Buffy's room to hide, and he goes to look out the window, and he's like, we're safe. And like, next thing you know, Angel goes, yeah, no, grabs him out of the window, yanks him off the roof, pulls him down to the lawn. And he's about to kill Xander because he thinks this is brilliant. Like, I was going to kill Buffy, but this will kill her even more. And as he's going to bite him, a mob of angry women knock him over. Mm-hmm. Cordelia runs, grabs Xander, frees him from the mob. They run in the house. Joyce is in there with a couple other girls with a knife, which is like really creepy. And they lock themselves in the basement, which is kind of sweet because if you remember, that's where they shared their first kiss when they were running away from Bug Assassin Man. We cut back to Amy trying to reverse the spell first on Buffy, which she see her going to take the cheese out of the trap, but then the spell works. She becomes human and she is naked. And Oz is like, with the flashlight, like, oh, I didn't see a thing. And she then works on reversing the love spell, and it's perfect timing because as they bust through the door, like here's Johnny style of Joyce's basement. The spell is broken. And, you know, what was scary is that Willow shows up with an axe in front with the mob. And she's like, if I can't have him, nobody can have him.
Yellow little coveralls.
And I did forget a very important part which is the best part, and I can't believe I skipped it. When Angel is about to...
I know what you're going to say.
Somebody grabs Angel and throws him off, and there is Drusilla.
It's beautiful.
She wants Xander like he is her newest puppy. She is like I'm going to love you forever and ever.
So gross.
And it was when, he's like, can't we just start with a cup of coffee? Everything with them is a cup of coffee. What, you're like eternal, you don't have time for a cup of coffee? So that was before the mob came. And as I said, you've got Willow with an axe, which is so
crazy,
disturbing to see at this point, because
it is
even though
very
spoiler, we know Willow becomes a very powerful woman later.
We do.
This is still.
In fact, I do have an article which I'm going to use later on that Richard sent me the other day, on that very subject. But we'll wait till we get closer to that
when she starts,
and I'll share that at the time in the links when we do those.
And so Amy does complete the spell, removes the curse. One thing I think is funny is that Cordelia thinks Xander put a love spell on all the women to love him. He said, it was only supposed to work on you, but you're so thick, can't even. And she's like, wait, the spell was for me? And all of a sudden she's kind of like,
Nah,
and
cute.
The spell is broken. Everybody's confused in Joyce's basement. Cordelia's like, thank you for helping us with our scavenger hunt, like hoping for the best. And
I mean, I just it gets limmer every time.
Okay, like gas leak. All right, maybe I can understand.
Why would you be buying any of that? Why?
And Xander tells Buffy, like, Willow won't even speak to me, and she says, it was worse for her. She loved you before this, so this was like the ultimate betrayal to her. And then she does tell him that, look, I know you did not take advantage of me in that state, and I want you to know I appreciate that. Like, you may be a dick, but you're not that much of a dick. It was obviously just good intentions gone wrong. As we know, I myself have made a flaw stitched together with good intentions is my favorite quote. I have it tattooed on my leg. So there's that. The crew's walking by. Hermione, listen to me, Harry Potter. Harmony bumps into Xander and then insults him as he does. And Cordelia, and this is the moment, she turns around and she's so like, you know what, Harmony, you're just nothing but a sheep. Like, and tells her off. And then she's like, this is my guy and I want to be with him. And that's how the episode ends. And I think it's beautiful because, again, nobody's denying that she is the utmost bitch of all bitches, but when it came down to it at the end,
she chose the right thing
to change. And even if it is gross and nobody understands it,
with those messages, yet again with Buffy, with those messages, those
the moral of our stories.
Yeah.
So that's all I have for this week. I look forward to what you have.
I've got a few things this week. We'll start with the music as always, which was Pain by 4-Star Mary, which aka Dingo's Ate My Baby.
That's
right,
that's why that sounded familiar.
Yeah, 4-Star Mary is obviously the band that they mime to. We'll put it that way. That they play. Dingo Ate My Baby is obviously the name. And the songs were Pain from them, and then we had Drift Away by Naked, and Got the Message by the 70s Funksters, The Average White Band.
Okay. Never heard of them.
That's a bit of an old flashback one. A big thing that I did see about this episode was the director for this episode was James A. Continer. Now, he's also known for directing episodes on, and this is a list and a half, The Equalizer, Miami Vice, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, The Flash, Dark Skies, The X-Files, Charmed. He'd also worked as a cinematographer on The Wiz, Superman, and Times Square. So that's a big
I would have heard of him.
Yeah, I think I may have done. I wouldn't have been able to repeat the name, but, definitely I'll have seen something. If he's done X-Files, I've seen them all. So I'll have seen something else he's done. The other thing was, this came at a strange time for us, and I hadn't realised till I found it in the book I've been using to back us up. At this time, after this episode in the UK, this time it was being shown on Sky TV, which was like a cable network that we had. And basically, they pulled it from its Saturday night slot at 8 o'clock. They pulled it from that slot. They said, no, it's not doing well enough. We can get something bigger. And they replaced it by Third Rock from the Sun. And they put it on a Friday night slot. All right. Third Rock from the Sun did really badly, but it took a year of fans and people like kicking off for him to reinstate it back on the Saturdays. But by then, BBC Two, which was a normal free channel, so it'd be like an access channel, a local access channel for, say, you as such, to explain America to whatever. We'd already started playing repeats from the beginning by then on a Thursday evening, sort of at a teen sort of time over tea time for us, dinner time for you, over dinner kind of time, when the kids were home from school or teens were home from college or whatever.
It's interesting because you would think that it starts to get a little more graphic later on, that they would want it to be later instead of a...
I think I've said this before, where it was really strange because for a couple of years we had it on BBC Two at like 6 p.m. in the evening and it was never censored.
Right.
But I feel what had happened was that TV networks had jumped on the fact that where everyone was originally watching it had stopped playing it in the time when they wanted it and everyone wanted an outlet.
Right.
So they started from one, well, maybe a season behind all the time, or maybe two.
Right.
But that's how they did it. But yeah, I remember that year that happened, and it was like, what? What do you mean I can't? What do you mean it's not going to be on?
I kind of feel like it's the networks that can make or break these shows. I'll use Firefly as an example.
Yes,
Fox fucked that show, and I don't know. We have not discussed.
We had Sci-Fi Channel played it here.
Okay, so are you a Firefly fan?
Yes.
Okay, I am a huge Firefly fan as well, and anybody that knows that we will forever be living.
Are you frilling serious right now?
What's that?
Are you frilling serious right now?
I'm frilling serious. Yeah, no, I'm a huge Firefly fan.
Yeah, I love Firefly. I loved it. I haven't revisited it for a lot of years, but I loved it.
Oh yeah, no, I watch it at least once a year just for funsies.
Even though I struggle to not be scared of Nathan Fillion in anything, as we all know.
He's so great because he will, like, after it ended, people will walk up to him on the street. He was with some director somewhere, and people kept coming up to him on the street and saying, "Captain." He'd nod and walk away. And the guy finally asked him, he's like, "When were you in the military?" He's like, "I wasn't." He just loves, he loves that show so much, as you know. But if you just walk up to him and say, "Captain," he'll always appreciate that, no matter how old he gets, which I love.
That's amazing.
We might be slightly off topic.
I love Nathan Fillion. My problem is, as we've spoke about before, because of what's to come, and we won't do any spoilers, but Caleb terrified me, even as a grown woman.
Caleb, we've discussed this before, and again, it's not really spoiling any future episodes, but Nathan Fillion plays a character.
Murray! Hello.
Hello. I love my dog.
Hello. Nice to see you on our little podcast.
I missed you.
We have.
Yes. Yeah, so he plays this character, Caleb, in the last season, so we'll get to him much later on.
Yeah, we'll do that later, but that's my kind of, when you see that, people may understand why I have a bit of a freak out with it.
Yeah, poor Claire's still traumatized all these years later.
Still to this day. 25 odd years, 27 is it now, years later, I'm still scared.
Yeah, I love that man so much. So these are our episodes from this week.
Yep. All the links will be put in description on the re-upload after the live. We'll do that. We have a big shout out that we nearly forgot to do then.
No, we did not.
Abby, would you like to lead with it?
Well, first of all, Perfect Turd Podcast. These guys are amazing. We're going to tell you every week to listen to them.
Every week.
But I don't know if you saw on my Facebook page. If you didn't, I'm going to share it again because I actually made it public. They made us
on mine as well.
Like a cover photo,
thumbnail,
basically.
we will call it a little thumbnail poster for us. Bless their hearts. I think Joe possibly put it together.
I meant to ask you because I didn't know which one did.
It was Joe.
I'm
Joe.
Beyond blown away by it because I have no skills with that whatsoever.
Oh, I don't. I'm absolutely useless.
I mean, you know, at least we've got Rich for our technical stuff, but
we have. And to be fair, if we had faster equipment, Rich could do that. But we have quite slow equipment for things like this.
I appreciate how amazing they've been to us from the start, because as
they
we
have,
say
and they support us every single week. They did a great shout out on their channel for us, a little video that they posted everywhere, and they support us on their Instagram and on Twitter and everywhere. They support us everywhere, and they're fantastic. And we just wanted to say we love you. And
we do love you so much, and we'll continue to push them because they're amazing, and
yes,
it's really for your benefit. And also, this is, you know, jumping the gun a little bit, but stay tuned for the Legend of Crickfoot, which maybe Claire and I might both have a little something
possibly
to do with
maybe
a little something in there.
You may see us there.
You might see us there later. If you know anything about the Crickfoot, please feel free to Google it. Watch
and when the details come out, we will post it to the channel. Links in description, obviously, so you can go and see us in Crickfoot.
Hammoneyville,
yes,
podcast,
of course.
Our boys. And,
shout our boys out. Hammoneyville, Scream Until You Like It, Perfect 10 Podcast. Rich for technical.
Once More with Abby and Claire.
Once More with Abby and Claire.
I do. I really, it's so silly. I don't know if anybody watches this. I hope people watch it. I hope.
We hope that we think a few people watch.
Doesn't. Oh, I lost Claire. Wait, she's coming back.
Oh, I think.
Oh, there you are. That was neat.
It's a sign.
We've talked about what Jonathan coming on and Matt maybe coming on, and
I'll be honest. This is my bad more than anything. We've both had to have a couple of weeks off, haven't we, for different things. But it's been my bad being organised, and I just got super busy this week. And obviously, Lauren, my beautiful, we'll shout Lauren Annetts out. My beautiful best friend came to visit me this week, and I went.
She should
to modelling a little bit this week for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I got my voice back. You heard me last week.
Yes, we can hear your beautiful voice again.
Let me tell you guys, it was. Did anybody remember the show Night Court? If you remember Selma from Night Court, she sounded like she smoked about 5 packs of Pall Malls a day, you know, filterless. That's what I sounded like until I lost my voice completely. And it's been 2 weeks, but I still just have a little bit of a little cough that won't go away. But
I understand that.
A little cough. But no, I think you're wonderful. I am by no means. I'm just saying, you know, I'll reach out to them too. I'd love to have people interact. I mean, I love Clint and Don and Adam, you know, they pop on.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin from Perfect Turd as well. He's offered to come on also. So
who has?
Oh, my friend Steph also is catching up to us, so she can come on.
Excellent. We'll be gentle.
We'll be gentle. Yes, we will. We will. And they'll be lucky, I guess, if we can get a word in edgeways with me and you, because we do like to talk.
We do like to talk, but you know what? If someone else wants to talk, I like to listen to. No matter what people say about me. Anyway, guys, please like, subscribe, share, watch Buffy.
Press the little notification bell too.
Yeah, do that because it's adorable. And watch Buffy. Buffy's amazing. And talk to us about it. And send us questions and
everything.
Come on the show.
Become involved.
Joe, Meg, you know, all of it. Just if you watch Buffy and you want to just chat with us, we'll tell you what episodes we're up to. You don't even have to watch the before and after. If you just want to, I mean, if you're familiar with it, if you want to just watch the episodes. Ryan, I'd love to see you back on again. But anyway, we love you guys.
We love you all. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
We love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.